When I was a child, I would use my imagination a lot. Of course, there was a set of matinees at the movie theater, but there was also radio, and I would thoroughly enjoy listening to stations out of Miami and Hawaii. I always thought Hawaii was such an exotic place, and when I saw that the people looked like me, I was even more thrilled. Of course, now I'm going to ask you to use your imagination because, after all, it's the greatest faculty of the mind because we're talking about something called broccoli onion dumplings. Now that's pretty exotic, wouldn't you say? Be that as it may, cooking is not only creative, but it is fun. Besides, onions won't hurt you, nor will broccoli. You can eat both of them raw, right? So, with that attitude, why don't we get started and I'll show you exactly how I made this. First, I used my chopper. Remember, I told you about this chopper. And what I did was I added the onion and the broccoli in small amounts at a time. And I just let the chopper did its thing. So, while the chopper is doing some work, I want to share this with you. There are a couple areas in this video where things could have been better. You, in watching the video, will no doubt tell yourself that you could have improved on making this video. You could have done better, which is precisely and exactly the point. Of course you can. Anyway, I added milk as liquid so that I could blend everything better and get it all in a nice blended way. And it seemed to work. As a matter of fact, it did work. Everything got blended so well. The broccoli and the onions became one. As I said earlier, I really cannot tell you how much I appreciate this $10 chopper. It really comes in handy in so many different ways. Okay, so once everything is blended, then we transfer everything into a bowl. And of course I added the flour to it, and I added anything else that I wanted to add to it. In my case, I added some flour, I added some baking powder, which is fine, and I also added some butter. Now, this is something that I should have done. I should have mixed all the dry ingredients before and then add the liquid. So, when you make yours, that's what you ought to do, especially when you mix the butter in with everything. But even if you don't worry about it because it'll turn out okay. And if you like broccoli and if you like onions, you're going to love the broccoli onion dumplings. As you can see, that even though I did things in a reverse order, it turned out okay. But I am sure you'll do a much better job in mixing it all together and making your batter for your broccoli onion dumplings. While it sat for a few minutes, I did look out my window and look, this is what I saw. I did tell you, right, that I really love my backyard? I do. I deliberately did not mention what kind of a soup I cooked because it is totally irrelevant. You cook the sort of soup that you want to cook. And once you spoon your little dumplings, your broccoli onion dumplings on your soup, or in your soup rather, they're going to float on top. So let them float on top and give them the 15, maybe 20 minutes that they need, because the only thing that needs to be cooked really is the flour. Of course, we don't really want to eat raw broccoli or raw onions anyway. So give them that time to cook. I might as well come clean with you and tell you that if you don't like broccoli and if you don't like onions, you will not like these dumplings. Now, I mentioned earlier that it could have been done in a much better way, and that is my point. You've got to take a look at cooking as being a creative art and something fun to do. And if you approach cooking with that attitude, I don't see where you can go wrong. I enjoy doing it, and in the end, are you ready for this? This is what I had for lunch today. I enjoyed it because I like broccoli and I like onions, and those little floaters were really perfect for me. Thank you very much for your comments and your suggestions, and please don't ever stop sharing.